sure. Yeah, great. Yeah, nice meeting you. I heard a lot about you. In a
Um,
good way.
Hello. Are you there? Are you there?
Yeah, yeah,
Is the sound right?
yeah, great. Yeah, yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Are you leaving this off already now in 5 minutes or? Yeah, I have to go to the minister, but let's do it quickly this interview and then we'll catch up. Yeah, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes, we're okay.
Uh, Mr. Hank, thank you so much for being with us. And today we are, you are launching this IFDC CSA project, which is a climate smart agriculture activity in Bangladesh. It's a USAID funded $35 million project. So, would you please tell us what is the purpose of this project? How do you want to implement this? What do you want to achieve through this project?
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, the Climate Smart Agriculture Feed the Future project is focusing on improving livelihoods and. Shift the chair? This chair? Then that will be fine.
আমি এতক্ষণ বয়ে রইলাম
We
আপনারা
start
এখন
again. We start again.
হ্যাঁ I think you can look at me and say
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah yeah so please
We continue or
Yeah,
we
we
start with the question? Should I start from the beginning?
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for coming to Bangladesh, and you are launching this climate smart agriculture project. It's a Fit the Future initiative. Um, so, would you please tell us what is the purpose of this the project, and what do you want to achieve?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, the main reason why Climate Smart Agriculture is funded by Feed the Future, USAID, is to launch more resilience within farmer communities. So it's improve agriculture productivity, improving soil health and soil fertility, but also to contribute to a farmer's income by introducing new innovations which are climate adaptive, so that farmers are more resilient in producing their products. Because we all know that climate has a major effect on agriculture productivity here in Bangladesh. And by introducing new varieties, but also new varieties of seeds, but also new technologies on how to adapt to climate, we believe that with the projects, farmers can produce more, but farmers can get a better price and are more adaptive to the changes of climate.
So, at this moment, what challenges do you see the farmers or the agriculture sector in Bangladesh are facing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What we see is that soil degradation is a major challenge for farmers. Salination, especially in the coastal area, has major impact on the productivity. So even the use of fertilizer isn't effective in those areas because salination and acidity are a major challenge. On the other hand, we see that due to the world fertilizer prices, farmers have problems and struggle to purchase fertilizer, even when it's subsidized by the government. But that leaves the burden on persuading fertilizer on the government. So fertilizer is expensive and it's hard currency. So that's one of the reasons why in the Climate Smart Agriculture program, we're looking at more nutrient use efficiency. So that means that the fertilizer will be more effective, will be used more effectively by plants to produce. Because if you can reduce your fertilizer donation on a regular basis in a season, 3 times a year, then you will save your money as a farmer. And that's a major achievement within the program because now farmers think that using more fertilizer will automatically give more production. But due to the difficulties in soil health and soil degradation, salination, but also due to climate change, the eradicative rains and the eradicative season, we see that there is too much fertilizer used. And if you take into account that fertilizer is expensive, you have to do it much smarter. So that's why nutrient use efficiency or fertilizer use efficiency is a major achievement in the project.
So you're saying it's an achievement. I mean, it is yet to be implemented, but we know that IFDC. Yes, IFDC has been implementing various projects in Bangladesh for last 3 decades. So, what are the technologies that have been developed or that have been implemented in Bangladesh, which already got some results?
Yeah, a very good example here in Bangladesh, which we use globally, is urea deplacement in rice. So
Okay.
that means you have pelleted fertilizer in a small pill, like a normal pill for people,
Yeah.
and you place it deeper in the root zone directly when you use it. That means it becomes more effective to the roots of
Okay.
plants
Okay.
directly instead of spreading it in the water or spreading it on the soil. So the efficiency of urea deplacement is very helpful,
Okay.
which already contributes to what we just mentioned. So farmers, and that's what we introduced over the last couple of years here in Bangladesh and in other countries, that will be part of the innovations we introduce in the Climate Smart Agriculture program, but also microdosing. I mean, contributing just a little bit of fertilizer to plant-specific crops makes it easier. So that it's closer to the roots, that you use less fertilizer as you spread it over the land just randomly, will reduce the amount of fertilizer to be used and will improve the production of agriculture crops on 1 acre.
Okay. So you said you are going to implement this project, CSA project, in 21 districts of south and southwestern region of Bangladesh, which is very vulnerable to climate change. Uh, and you said that salinity is a problem. The land remains fallow for for many years. So how do you help so farmers can use those land, and what technology can be applicable in those places?
Yeah, in saline areas, which are of course mostly the coastal areas, but also areas which are long time irrigated, you see that the level of salt in the soil is increasing.
Right.
That means you need salt tolerant crops.
Right.
The current varieties don't apply in those salty environments. So introduction of new varieties and new seeds which are adaptive to let's say salt tolerance production are important. So that's one step. Second is you have to find a way to reduce the salt content in the soil. And that means from a more regenerative agriculture perspective, you have to find crops which are taking out the salt out of the crop, out of the soil,
Okay.
to assure that the soil becomes healthier in the way that the salt level is going down.
Is there any sort of plant that take out the salt from the land?
Yes, there are quite some innovations already globally available, which IDC works with, of plants which are naturally used and mostly growing in coastal areas,
Okay.
which are helpful to take the salt out of the sand or out of the soil. And the advantage of these crops, and we work closely together with the International Center of Biosaline Agriculture, the advantage of these crops is that these crops itself are vegetables, they are edible, so
Okay,
you can do both. You improve the soil quantity in the soil.
Yeah.
As a farmer, you grow a vegetable which can be sold to the market, and which gives you a better income. And that's a side product of your normal production.
Okay.
So bringing in innovations in that domain to reduce the salt content in soils, but improve the agriculture production of farmers, not only on one crop, but diversify the production, will really help farmers to be
Are
more
there
resilient.
those vegetables already in Bangladesh?
I'm not sure if they're already in Bangladesh, at least those vegetables. I know that we introduced salt tolerant and potatoes,
Okay.
because that's a bit the same. And there's a lot of potato production
where
in.
did you do that?
I don't remember the influence zone, but it's here in Bangladesh,
Okay.
in the southwest, of course, because there you have salt-tolerant soils. These potatoes are growing on a more salt-tolerant way, so they accept the salt content which is in the soil. But these potatoes don't absorb the salt.
Okay.
The vegetables I mentioned, they absorb the salt and they
Okay.
stock it in their vegetables.
Okay. So yeah, that'll be fantastic. I mean, if those types of vegetables can be brought in here and produced in the southwestern region. And as you talked about the supply chain disruption, especially following the Russia-Ukraine war. And you are working on fertilizer, and you talked about subsidy of fertilizer, which cannot continue for many years. So, what is the solution that you can provide in this case?
Yeah, good question. It's twofold. One, it's of course a global disruption, which Bangladesh itself can't solve, and farmers can't solve. So that's related to the Russia-Ukraine problems, and of course due to COVID, logistic was expensive. We now see that fertilizer prices globally are going down again to normal levels, although they are still high. That's one issue which has to be addressed, but that relates directly to the exchange rate. I mean, the dollar taka rate is, of course, the taka is becoming. You get more takas, you get more takas for $1.
Right.
But that has a major challenge because if you have to purchase for 100 million of fertilizer, your taka cost is only going up.
Right.
So that's a problem for the government to solve. The way to solve it, as I said, is twofold. You can reduce your amount of fertilizer to be used. And that's why in the project, fertilizer use efficiency is crucial. Because as a farmer, if you use 100, 150 kgs of fertilizer per year on a hectare of rice, but you can reduce that to 100 with 30% or even more, then you have to spend less, which is already one thing. So that means that the fertilizer should be more efficient and should be directly contributing to the plant and plant roots. So that's research and innovation which is ongoing. To ensure that you have fertilizers, like I just explained with rural and second, it's related to the subsidies of the government. And I think it's more important that the private sector comes in, that farmers have better access to qualified fertilizer. And that is something which has to be organized with the Fertilizer Association of Bangladesh.
Okay. That's a fantastic idea. I mean, do you have any study that has already shown that if you go for state, fertilizer, you can cut the use of fertilizer by 30% or 40%, whatever?
Yes. That kind of studies are already done, as well here in Bangladesh, as well globally.
Okay.
And you can reduce fertilizer use to 35, nearly 40% if you use this kind of more precise fertilizer applications.
Okay.
And that's exactly why in the Climate Smart Agriculture program by Feed the Future, these technologies are introduced because we already know that we can reduce the number of fertilizer used.
And what are the other places where such technology has been used?
We use quite a lot of these technologies which are tested here in Bangladesh, in African rice fields, in Kenya, in Uganda, in Mozambique, even in West Africa, where we see the same results.
What about the USA and Netherlands, where you come from? Because your headquarters is also in the USA. So, is there this technology applied?
Yes, UDP and microdosing are applied in the Netherlands, but also in the US.
Okay.
Because farmers in the US and in the Netherlands look at cost efficiency and fertilizer use efficiency, because the same what we suggest here in the Climate Smart Agriculture program is that farmers use less fertilizer but have a higher yield.
Higher yield, what is the percentage of yield that can go up?
I don't know the percentage, but the idea is to have roughly 9 billion extra productivity, which is of course already a great achievement with the number of farmers we're working with.
And this USAID, the US government has come up with funding for this project, and what is the future goal of US government in Bangladesh, if you say?
Now, I'm just the implementer as I have the CSA, the colleagues of USAID. But climate smart agriculture is a major topic, and improving resilience of farmers, improving income of farmers, assuring that there is sufficient food security in Bangladesh itself, being less dependent on import, is a major topic for the US and the US government. That's why we are pleased to introduce the program, not only here in Bangladesh, we do similar work in other countries. We're active in 25 countries, and we implement these kind of strategies globally.
And of course, we learned one thing is that efficient use of water resources. How can that be possible? Under this project?
Yeah, it's one of the innovations which will be introduced. Is besides using less fertilizer, water is also good quality water is a major challenge for farmers in Bangladesh.
Right.
Or it's salty water, or it's dirty water, or not enough water. So introducing new innovations about water use efficiency is important to ensure that the crop gets the right amount of water, which directly contributes to a better use of fertilizer, because water and fertilizer in the end are relative. And that thirdly, it relates to, of course, more agricultural productivity. Because if the plant has the right quantity of water and fertilizer during the cropping season, for sure the plant will produce more. And what we see now is that if you look at a cropping season, water is mostly eradicative during the growing season, which reduces the productivity of plants. So if we can spread the water in a better way over the growing season, that means the uptake of fertilizer will be more efficient and the plant will grow better because the water is available.
And you know that in the previous projects, there were many technologies used. So how have those technologies been sustained? Whether those have expanded and people are still using those. Can you cite any example or any figure?
Yeah, I don't have the figures, but what is important, and that's also one of the main goals for this program, or already part of the implementation of the API project, is that we rely on the private sector here in Bangladesh. Many of the innovations are initiated by local private sector, which helps us to continue the sustainability of those innovations. It's not that the project comes up with innovation. The project scouts innovations in the market and introduce those innovations to farmers and to farmer communities. With the support and the backstopping of those innovations and the proven concept and the development, the sustainable development of these innovations is with the private sector partners here in Bangladesh. So it's not the program who is introducing, or we as IFDC are introducing new innovations. It's mostly the startups and the companies which are already present in Bangladesh. So private sector engagement is a major.
But you must have that strategy in your.
Yes, sustainability is a major challenge, and it doesn't work if you only look at the scope of 5 years to help the farmers to grow more products and to be more resilient towards climate change. The adaptiveness is what the program can support, but the sustainability is a responsibility of the farmers together with the private sector partners in the market.
But of course, the government or public sector can facilitate the expansion and the sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Hank.
much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
I like that. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you were able to at least be part of this.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
And I'm also already looking forward that when you come next, maybe we'll discuss
Yeah.
some ideas that you have. Yes. And I just met, I didn't realize this OB